If you haven't already signed up for an AWS account, I want to give you the flyby of what that looks like and what's going to be required. And then, the best of all, I want to show you what you're going to get for free when you do. To get started with AWS, you need all the normal stuff, and we'll talk about that in just a moment. But the number one thing that you need is a purpose. Like what is your goals with AWS? I've taught years of Microsoft and Cisco technology, and I always used to tell people, I'm like, oh, you got to go build a lab. And while I still hold true to that, you got to go, try this and do it for yourself. I've stopped saying it that way because I found that people would go buy all kinds of routers and switches and servers, and they'd create this beautiful pile, and then they'd stare at it. It's like, well, connect some cables. Before long, it just sits there and collects dust because they don't have a purpose. And it's the same with AWS. I actually got started with AWS probably 6 years ago. When it first came out, I logged in, I spun up a virtual instance in the cloud. I was like, oh, wow, that's pretty cool. Closed it, never touched it again for years and years after that, because me not being a web developer at heart, and not really knowing the whole scope of what AWS can do, I just didn't really have a purpose. And there's all kinds of cool stuff out there, but what's going to make you land here? So you have to really define, what is your goal with AWS? What's your mission going into this? And if it's just to learn technology, then that's great, but somewhere along the road, it has to go from learning to applying. So the normal stuff that you'll need: login information, email address. Now this does surprise people when they first sign up. Matter of fact, I'll show you the screenshots of that in just a moment so you're not shocked. They won't let you sign up without a credit card, which the reason why is they do give you a lot of stuff free, but they give you full access to everything. So you could spin up the biggest, baddest server you've ever built in the cloud in a matter of minutes, but that's where the billing begins. And they want to make sure that you have a credit card on file. And I would say, from Amazon's perspective, what a great way to trim down on goofy accounts where people just sign up for accounts with nothing, no intention. If you actually have to put a real credit card that is validated. Now, they don't charge it, but it's got to be a valid credit card, and they will actually call you. So you have to put a valid phone number in there. You need to have an understanding of the services. That's why you're here in this series. And we'll start diving into the AWS Management Console. This actually, this screenshot's a little old. They no longer have this at the top. Everything changes all the time, right? So even the stuff that I'm going to go through right now, it may even look different by the time you're there. But that's just the way of technology, right? So here's what it actually looks like when you sign up. They're going to ask you for the normal information you would expect on anything. You got to agree to their little customer agreement. Type in credit card information. I didn't screenshot that because I didn't want to. So you will have to put in your credit card information. And this is the fun part. I thought it was fun anyway. You put in your phone number, and they're like, hey, we're going to verify. And it says call in progress to, and it'll show your phone number there. And an automated system will call you to make sure you're not just typing in bogus information. And it'll display on the screen a PIN number that you enter on your telephone keypad when it calls you, and it says, okay, your account is now validated, and you move on to the confirmation stage and get access to the AWS Management Console. Now, forevermore, after you've signed up for your account, you will be able to come to aws.amazon.com. You don't come to the orange button. You go to the My Account and shoot straight into AWS Management Console. It's going to ask you for your sign-in information, which I've got mine right there. Click Sign In. And I'm now in. So this is full access to all the services that AWS provides. Now, I will say there are some limitations on accounts. For example, I gave you the example of Animoto, right? Where earlier in the series I talked about how they scaled from 40 instances to 5,000 instances in the matter of 3 days. Amazon's not going to let you do that. Well, let me just, without some prior notification, without some kind of justification, right? Because if they did, then anybody could come in, sign up for an account, and pummel the Amazon system by running, 50,000 instances that it would kind of be like a denial of service attack. So if, they will let you launch a good number of instances. I don't know what the default number is to start off, but you will hit a limit, at which point you call your Amazon sales rep and you need to talk with them. If you think you have the next Animoto and you're going to run 5,000 instances in a matter of 3 days, then tell them that and give them the justification. They'll run it through and they'll say, okay, we'll release it for this amount of time until we see what you're capable of doing. It's just duh. It's Amazon has to protect themselves from people that could pummel them with all kinds of instances. So from here, this is where the rest of the series begins. Now, what about the stuff that you get for free? Well, Amazon is so confident in their product that they actually give you a full year, shink, 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 year for free to use their free tier. Now, what does that mean? That means that they will give you 750 hours of an Amazon Linux micro instance usage, 750 hours of even a Microsoft Windows Server micro instance. So Amazon is making an investment. They have to pay licensing costs to Microsoft for these instances. Now, what does this mean? Okay, well, micro instance means that's the smallest instance that you can run. So I will tell you, with Windows, it'll be painful. I'll just say it right up front. I mean, Windows is a hog on resources because that's just the system that Microsoft has designed. So when you boot it, I mean, the beauty of the micro instance is that it boots sometimes on a good day when you're standing on one foot with your hand in the air. It's slow. I mean, it's very limited resources, and I will tell you, if anybody else on that server, like if you're on a physical server and there's all these other users of that server, if they start maxing it out, guess who gets shafted? The micro instances. So you will feel it on that side. But, I mean, it's free, right? What do you want? You will probably have a much better experience in the Linux world simply because Linux is Linux, much less overhead. You can see enough hours to run continuously each month, star, asterisk, that kind of, for a normal usage kind of scenario. So that's, I will say, sure, you can complain about the micro instance, but come on, it's free. So you will be able to go above and beyond the micro instances, but if you do, then you convert into a paid account. And I want to answer this right up front. What if I go into a paid tier? Like I'm running this, I'm like, man, I click start and it takes 3 seconds for the start menu to come up. Come on. What does it mean if I have to upgrade that? Or choose to upgrade that, I should say. It goes straight on your credit card. I mean, and it goes straight into the billing. And the good thing, the thing I love about Amazon is that, I mean, you go into, it's like, okay, well, let's upgrade to a real machine, 30 cents an hour, or something like, I mean, it's dirt cheap for your testing purposes. I mean, you want to make a 4-hour run, you pay a couple bucks, and you run a pretty solid server in the cloud for whatever amount of time. The biggest thing that I will tell you is remember. There is a clause of responsibility that you have to remember that you left a server running, to remember that you left a whole bunch of files in storage, to remember that you have a year, or I should say more plausibly, 750 hours of time. Remember, your credit card is on file. That's why they asked for it. It's not that Amazon is trying to be like, haha, surprise, that kind of thing. But I will say I've talked with the engineers, and there is, Amazon does not go out of the way to remind you about things. They say you are a big person, you are set to remember. And I don't, for instance, there's times where reserved instances, which we'll talk about, it's kind of a cost savings to you, they will expire and it will automatically convert into on-demand pricing, which is higher, and Amazon won't tell you that. It's just your next statement that comes in the mail. You're like, wow, well, my rates went up. What happened? And you go, oh, it's funny because I've actually been to Amazon classes at their headquarters, and I've seen that question asked so many times, like, how come Amazon didn't tell me that this billing would go up and that kind of thing? It's like, well, I mean, it's anyway. I'm not going to go down that argument because the biggest thing I can tell you, it's just remember what you have running. Remember that you're keeping it running. If you fall asleep at the keyboard, know that you're going to be charged for that server running all night long. All those kind of things. So with that being said, lots of stuff that you get for free to test and kick the tires on just about everything Amazon provides. Well, I promised that it would be short, and it is. I just wanted to give you a flyby of what it takes to get started and what you get for free because, can I give you my reason? Because I want you to do it with me. From here on out, we're going to get into the practicalities, the services that Amazon provides, and I hope that you're hanging out with me on a second monitor or something, just clicking through, trying things out. I mean, if there's ever anything where you're like, I wonder what would have happened if he would have clicked on that option or something like that, pause me, put me on hold, and then go click it and see what happens. I mean, it's the worst that you can happen is you get charged $1 or something, right? If you venture into the paid territory. But as I mentioned at the very beginning of this series, the best way to learn it is to hear it, see it, do it, right? All right, with that being said, I hope this has been informative for you, and I'd like to thank you for viewing.